appreciate everybody being here, and most importantly, we appreciate the three gentlemen to my right. Not often, I don't think, that you can get three icons of your sport in the same room at the same time. These gentlemen to my right certainly are icons of NASCAR. And we appreciate them being here today. And I know some had to rearrange their schedule to make it here, and we appreciate that very much. Joining us to my right, Richard Childress, Richard Childress Racing, Rick Hendrick, Hendrick Motorsports, and Coach Joe Gibbs from Gibbs Racing. Between these three gentlemen, they have combined for 19 Sprint Cup Series championships and 31 NASCAR National Series championships. That's impressive. And each one of them are here today competing again for another title, and several titles, in fact. But I'm just going to ask each one of them an opening question. I'm going to start with Richard. Richard, obviously you're competing for a Sprint Cup title with Kevin Harvick, but you also have a grandson that's going to race for a championship tomorrow night. So talk about that dynamic, and maybe just your thoughts heading into Homestead-Miami weekend.
Well, you know, when you start the year out, that's where you want to be, is in a position to be able to race for a championship. Making the chase is really big. You got to do that first before you can run for a championship. We've been in this position quite a few years. I think somebody said 5 out of the last 10 years we've had a chance coming into Homestead, but my good buddy here to the right is a lot better than we are, so you kind of got it. You know, some of the years, some of our finishes would have won the championship in the early days, but they set a whole new bar for all of us to go out and run for, and to be able to be here and compete against what I call the best in this era. We're proud of that. And as far as the nationwide championship, we're just going to give it all we got, and told Austin just go race like he does every week, and no mistakes. If you don't make no mistakes, you'll have a chance.
Thank you, Richard. And Rick, certainly no stranger to these championships, and you've won 10 of them as a Sprint Cup owner, 13 National Series titles, and Richard Childress 6 Cup championships and 11 National Series titles. But talk about, I'm sure this never gets old. This is why we're all in the sport, for competition, win championships, and just talk about opportunity that Jimmy has again here this weekend.
Well, we, you know, this is like Richard said, we all work hard to get to this spot, and you know, it's not over till Sunday afternoon or Sunday night, and but we've had a good year, and our entire organization's had a good year, and we just come down here and try to close it out, just not make any mistakes and have any failures. And Joe and I were talking earlier. I mean, you know, we can have a day like they had last week, and that things can be reversed, and either one of these guys on each side of me could win this thing. So we just got to come execute, and hopefully we stay out of trouble and end up with no mechanical problems and no accidents on the track.
Thank you, Rick. And Coach Joe Gibbs, 3 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series owner championships, 7 NASCAR National Series owner championships, and a slew of Super Bowl championships. So you've been at the top of your game throughout your career. But just talk about, you brought over Matt Kenseth, and as a driver this year, Matt Kenseth has had just a super season. But just talk about Matt's emergence and his performance this year, and your overall thoughts about Championship Sunday.
We started off, as somebody said, that Rick's chairs broke, and I said, well, nothing else he's got ever breaks, so. Richard, I don't know what the deal is. It's a thrill for us to get a chance to be in a sport like this, and it's the best people in the world at what they do, racing cars, and you get a chance to compete. It gets you so excited to come to the racetrack. Got great respect for the other car owners. I know how hard it is to get, to this level and then to compete. And it's been a thrill for us to have a chance, to run for a championship. Matt came over with us, and I don't think anybody in the sport, and certainly not us, would have guessed that he could have a year like that. When you get him together with Jason, our crew chief, young guy, you just don't dream of the chemistry being what it turned out to be this year. So we're thrilled with that, and I think he gave it every single thing he had every single week, and our team did. It just so happens that this year, at least for these 9 races, you can't have a bad race. That's what happened this year. And, we had a bad race last week, and it put us in, in a tough situation. We got Kyle sitting there. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think, for a lot of people, because you got Kyle in 4th there with, with the M&M's car for us, and we're going to be battling Junior and everything that's going on there. You got Nationwide. We got a chance to run over there. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a fun weekend for everybody. And I love that about our sport, and it's fun to be a part of this and get a chance to sit up here.
Very good. Thank you very much. We're going to go for about 20 minutes, so we'll take as many questions as we can. We're going to start with Ed, and then go to Mike, and then to Tom. Ed, raise your hand. We'll get you the wireless mic. Where are mic runners? Right over here. Right there. To your right. Thank you.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. One quick one for Richard and one for Rick. Richard, like you say, these 5 times y'all have had a chance, and then other times even before the chase. How much does it wear on you that y'all have gone this long without winning a championship since '94 with Dale? And also, was that just a different world that y'all won those championships in, those 6 championships in, from this world today?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say it's so different. You had to beat a lot of good cars to win a championship, and I think, like I said earlier, Rick, hats off to those guys. They've done one heck of a job. Chad and Jimmy and all the guys, and they've set the bar up. And we've been in a position, even in 2000, we were second the points. And yeah, it eats at you when you don't win a championship, but you're giving it your best, and your best isn't good enough.
And for Rick, we'll bring up the term you seem so uncomfortable with. Could you kind of outline why you seem just not to be comfortable with the New York Yankees analogy in this?
Well, I think, first of all, go back when I first got into sport, and I'd go to New York. I'd go every time to watch Richard get the championship, and never thought we'd ever win one. And we've put a lot of hard work together, and then Coach Gibbs comes along, and I would have never helped him if I knew he was going to be this much competition. But I think we work really hard, just like these other teams work hard, and the chemistry between Chad and Jimmy's has been unbelievable. And just like these guys, the preparation with your whole shop, the engineers, your engine shop, everybody working together. But if you look at Jimmy's dedication to perfection, and Chad's the same way, plus the chemistry they have, it takes a lot of racing luck, but it takes a lot of preparation and talent. And I don't think Jimmy's gotten the real credit he deserves for the talent that he has and for the dedication that he has given to the sport. He, a guy that works out, eats, and is a student of looking at track data, tire data. He lives and breathes being a perfectionist, and Chad's the same way. And so, when you have talent and you have execution, right, Coach, it shows. And I'm with Coach. I've never seen this thing that his team did with Matt, which is a great guy, has been unbelievable this year. So you never know when that chemistry is going to happen, and you get on a roll and they get confident. And I give Richard a lot of credit. He and Kevin are going to separate, but they came in here and put it together and raced to the end. This is a tough sport, but I think every now and then you get a combination of people that really click, and if you give them the tools and they don't leave anything on the table, then they're going to be there every year. And I think Jimmy's as good as I've ever seen, and Chad's the same way. And the Yankees, I'm not a big Yankee fan. I shouldn't say that. Reggie Jackson's one of my best friends, and I go to Yankees games. But I guess I really don't know how to answer that question. I feel like we're very fortunate, and I think that I'm real proud of our organization, and they work hard. And if people think that we're the team to beat, then we're doing our job.
We'll go to Mike. Raise your hand, Mike, right here. And then we'll go to Tom, and then Jeff Gluck. If we could just have one question per media person. Thank you.
Mike Hembry, Athlon Sports. Rick, you've seen most of the sports great drivers, and several of them have driven for you. Can you put what Jimmy has done and might do again in context against some of those the 4 or 5 other great drivers?
I think, and I think Richard could probably answer this as well as I could. The competition, the way the chase sets up today, you can't make any mistakes, and you can't have any failures. I mean, we had an engine fail with Earnhardt, but he'd be up in the points. So luck of the draw that Jimmy didn't get that motor. I look at, again, how the guy breaks down the corners and how he studies what's going on in the car. He never gets excited, and he's like a computer feeding stuff back to Chad and making the adjustments. And he thinks about the race before we get to the racetrack. He's planning on a strategy before we get to the chase, the way he eats, the way he runs. And you just don't see that dedication that's matched with talent that often. And I think he's one of the greatest that I've ever seen because of all of those things. Not just, there's a lot of guys out there with tremendous talent and have tremendous car skill, but to be smart, to be dedicated, to tune your body like you do the car, to prepare for the races in your head. Help me, Richard.
Yeah, I'll throw one other thing. Jimmy is a role model that for our sport, I think, that is unbelievable. Both of the grandsons, that's who they want to be like. That's who they talk to, and that's who they really want to. And it's a lot of other drivers. If you want to be a Cup driver today, that's the model you want.
Let's go over to this side of the room to Tom, and then we'll go to Jeff Gluck and then to Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Tom.
Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Gentlemen, congratulations all on being here. Each of you, this is forever who wants to answer it, each of you has got at least one young kid that you're working with coming up through the ranks. It seems to me this may be the deepest and most talent-laden pool of young drivers we've ever had in history, and I'd like to get your take on that.
I think that's very important, for all of us here. The young guys coming, I get excited about that. I walked outside of a restaurant about 15 years ago, and there was a kid standing there, and he says, "Coach, would you sign this?" And I signed it, and his dad took a picture, and we got the picture, and he looked up at me, and he goes, "I'm going to drive for you someday." And he kind of tapped him on the head, because a lot of kids say that to you. And it was Denny Hamlin. And today I tell him every time I see him, I said, "You didn't tell me I was going to have to pay you $1 million to drive for you." But you know, I think young guys coming and to see some of the
You're getting by for $1 million.
yeah.
That's what I want to know. How do you pull that off?
Man, we missed a boat, Richard, somewhere.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Actually, I got a bone to pick with Rick. When I came into this thing, I had no debt. And I told him I wanted to get in racing. And today I'm knee-deep in debt, and it's his fault. Okay, he helped me. But in any case, I tell the story about him. But I think it's fun to work with the young guys. I think these guys probably feel the same. And so, Richard, that's a thrill. I know with his grandkids. I'll tell my grandkids' story. I'm coming back from Starbucks, and I have my littlest one in the back seat. He'd been playing with his cousins. We have 8 grandkids. And we're coming back from Starbucks. He's all by himself. And he goes, "Coach." I went, "What, Jet?" He goes, "How come you didn't have any kids?" And I said, I had to explain to him, "I did, Jet. I had your dad, and I had J.D. And he goes, "Oh." So anyway, you got the grandkids coming. That's awesome. That may not be a bad idea. It's a cheaper way to go, is it?
No.
Or you still have to pay them a lot of money?
No, here's kind of where I ended up. I thought I was right. I was with you that you wouldn't have to pay them, the family and everything. And everything was going along good until my wife got involved. And she said, "I'm going to be their agent. And I know what you paid these other drivers, and you're not going to get off the hook." So I was good.
That's
she took
good.
over.
Okay.
Does that mean I have to talk to her about? I asked Richard permission to talk to his grandsons.
Yeah, she'll negotiate for her.
Very good. Let's go with Jeff, Lee, and then Claire. Go ahead, Jeff.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. Gentlemen, I'm just wondering how you evaluate the current sponsorship climate. Are things getting easier to find sponsors? Are things harder than they were a few years ago? Are they the same? How would you evaluate it?
You know, it's I guess when the economy and everything hit, we've got a whole new model in our sport today. Used to, you'd have one company come in and take the whole season and run the teams like we did for many years. And in today, the model has changed, and a lot of it's changed through the business model that happened several years ago, that the CEOs and a lot of people are really responsible for everything they do. So today, you may have 3 sponsors to carry you through the year, and it's a tougher environment. You know, I think anyone sitting here will tell you it's a tougher environment. Rick?
Yeah, exactly what Richard said, but I feel like the interest is picking up, and we're getting more people that we're talking to. The good news is the folks that we have are renewing, and that's good. And you know, when the economy was at its worst, and it looked like the whole you know, the financial crisis affected the world, you know, we were worried, but now we just signed a deal with Alta last night, basically a new company with DuPont, and well, DuPont, they bought DuPont, the paint division, but they're very excited. Their CEO is here, and they've got huge plans. So we were with the farmers people in Phoenix, the board of directors, and their CEO was at the race. We haven't seen the CEOs at the race in the last couple of years like they're here now, and the chairman of Lowe's will be here this weekend. So the energy is getting much better, and new people are taking a look. So it feels better than it did. It's getting better.
I think for us, I've really been excited. I think our best years are still in front of us. I believe that about NASCAR and where we're headed. I think Brian's done a great job of working with all the race teams, and we're looking at things like how do we make our, mile-and-a-half stuff better, intermediate track racing, all the things that we're working on. It's truly been a team effort. I see a great future for us, diversity. From a diversity standpoint, I think we have a lot. We're gonna see a lot of growth there. For us, I think it's exciting doing a very tough business climate. We've had all of our big sponsors, with the exception of one, re-up with us, and I think that says a lot. We turned around nationwide. We're running 4 cars there, and it's an exciting series for us. So I'm excited going forward, and I think Rick kind of hit the nail on the head. Our guys are re-upping. They like it. We got social media. We got B2B going like mad. We got some of the biggest and best companies in the world, and it's great having those relationships. And I love that part of our sport. It's different than other sports, and you got to have a great sponsor. But the thrill of that is to see them expend what they do in resources, and then to win a race for them, win a championship for them. It's a thrill, and I love that part of it. I think it's going to propel us into the future. We just mentioned our drivers and the fact that Jimmy and so many of our drivers, I feel like our guys and Richard's guys are role models, and I think that's going to help propel us too in the future, as we go forward. So I'm excited about our future and where we're headed.
I think the TV deal has really helped a lot.
TV's awesome.
Having that deal put to bed and having NBC coming in, a lot of our sponsors are excited about that. So, and as Joe said, the business-to-business opportunities, and our drivers do a good job of working with our sponsors in this business-to-business opportunities, and we're learning how to do new things that generate other interests and other opportunities with our sponsors. And so, again, I'm like Joe, and I feel good about it.
Yeah, we've signed more new sponsors in the last year, and new companies coming into the sport than we have in a long time. If you look around, you'll see some new ones.
Let's go to Lee, and then we'll go to Claire, and then to Bob. Go ahead, Lee.
What would help me if I could pay mine what Joe pays his? That would be that would help us a lot.
I don't think you would.
I think when you run this many races, you've got to travel. It doesn't get any cheaper. I think that we're trying to, again, make the intermediate cars and competition better. And there's a test coming up in December where we're going to work on that, and that'll be exciting because all the teams are working on it, and it's just not NASCAR's effort. So I applaud them for getting everybody involved. Everything, tires, engine, we've all talked about how to get it, how to cut the costs and be more efficient, and we've done that. I think all of us have done that. We've looked at ways we can, do it cheaper and still have the quality we need for the show, for the fans. And NASCAR is involved. We're always talking about it. But it's never easy to back things up. But we've looked at a lot of things that can help us, and a lot of the teams, I know we work with these teams here, with their chief financial officers, looking at all of the ways that we can reduce costs, and it's been a good exercise among all of our teams.
Let's go to Claire. You have a question?
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Could you guys outline what your roles are on race day, and what you pitch in once you own the team, but now that it's all come to the competition, what do each of you see as your roles?
Mine is to get out of the way. They tell me, do not say a thing on the radio and get out of the way. No, for me, you try and use your strengths. I wasn't a technical person growing up in racing. I just loved it. I was always the fan going. And so for me, it's people, and what I do on race day is I just try and go where we're having the most problems, because lots of times you can learn from that, what's going on. And so I do most of my focus is on sponsors and people, picking the people and trying to keep, help keep them going in the right direction. And JD and I probably have this similar type roles, so that's kind of what I do on race day.
I'm the same way. My job is to be here for the guys, but we've got a lot of sponsors. When you look at these cars, and they're all here, and they're all important, and you try to make sure you reach out and touch them. Usually when the green flag drops, that's my most relaxing time. It won't be Sunday, but we work hard trying to take care of our people and make sure they all got in. And our guys are at hospitality. We're meeting people on the grid. It's a lot of work when you've got multiple sponsors to make everybody happy. And that's what I see as my responsibility, because the work's done when we get to the racetrack, and it's up to the crew chiefs and the drivers. And I'm like Joe. I walk a lot of laps. I don't stay in one spot. One, because of nerves. Two, exercise. And three, just when you hear these things, when you listen to four of them at one time, anything you hear, you're waiting for a problem. And if you think you heard it, you go to that box to see what's going on, and that's kind of it.
I do roughly the same thing. I do a lot of appearances that morning, autographs, doing things with sponsors, and then I get on top of get me a high spot where I can talk to all three of the drivers, or four, when it depends on what we're doing, and just try to stay out of trouble.
Let's go to Bob, and then we'll go to Mark Long. Go ahead, Bob.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. For Richard, if Jimmy wins the championship on Sunday, there's going to be a lot of talk about when will number 7 come. I'm curious what you think the feeling will be in your shop of a lot of the talk about somebody going for a 7th title and matching Dale.
Dale and I never talked about winning 7 championships, just like I'm sure Jimmy's not talking about winning in time. We always talk about winning 8, 9, 10. I think he has he's got the youth. Like Rick said, he takes care of himself, physical, mentally. I don't think he's focusing on 7 to beat that, or 8 to beat that. He's wanting to win a lot of championships in his career.
Go right now to, I think Mark Long passed to Jenna, so we'll take Jenna, and then we'll go to Dave Coleman and David Caravello. Go ahead.
Jennifer, AP. Joe, Matt was talking yesterday about last week at Phoenix, and the question was about the professionalism he showed when he got out of the car, and if he ever really, when he was alone, if he ever did get upset or reflected on maybe the moment slipping away. And he talked about when he walked by the team taking down the pit box and he saw the look on Todd Meredith's face, and he said that just crushed him, and he felt like he personally had done that to Todd and the team, and that he had let them down. Why do you think that he would take that position and feel that way when it truly was a team effort? And how difficult do you think it was for the 20 team to kind of get over that and pass that and come back here this week?
I think it's in pro sports it can happen to you. I think for him to feel that way, it just says a lot about him, because I would say that Todd was looking at him like I was looking at him, looking at it just the opposite. How did we put him in a situation like that where he had to drive a car that was extremely hard to drive? And but you also know it is a total team effort. And as I sat and talked to Jason for a long time on Monday, and you're kind of going through that, because I've been in that situation as a coach. You make the bad call, or it could be this situation puts you in a bad situation. For instance, for us that day. So I think it says a lot about him, but I also think the feelings lots of time it went just the opposite for all of us. We felt bad that that Matt was put in that situation, but that's part of sports. Only way you can keep that from happening, odds are, is to not be in the sport, because at some point things are going to go against you. But I think it also says a lot about him and the way he handled that. One of the hardest things in life is to handle tough things when it goes against you. And Over here, it's going to go against you about 80 or 90% of the time, even if you're real, real good. So you got to handle the tough times. Matt, that was, I really appreciated what he said after the race. And I know Dollar General and really appreciates that, and Home Depot also, kind of person he is. I think it means a lot for our sport. Just like Jimmy, we were talking here, about really having people that you can look up to racing these cars, and I think it's neat. Kevin?
Let's go to Dave Coleman, and then we'll go to David Caravello. Go ahead, Dave.
Not the greatest. He's got many good years ahead of him, and I think he'll set a lot of records before he decides to hang it up.
I think the hardest thing, like I said, in pro sport, I think at some point, too, it comes down to just, it's great talent, and, you got a crew chief there that's top of his game and is great. So hats off to Rick and the whole group there, that they've been consistently for a long period of time up there every single year. They run great every year. It's hard to do in pro sports, to be there every year.
Told me he was going to be a super.
What happened? That's for sure. Listen, Richard, Rick, Coach Gibbs, can't thank you enough for coming in. It's been a real thrill just for me to listen to you three and be around you three, and we appreciate all you do for the sport of NASCAR, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
For sure. Gremlin.